Let's talk about stage 3 tax cuts.
Well, we heard from Andrew Clennell. They're on. They're going to stay. Well, it would be quite a election promise to break if they reverse course on this. But other programs, other things that people have become accustomed to may go, James. So, yes, the tax cuts...
Wouldn't it be good, though? Wouldn't it be good, though, to see some winding in of some of the ridiculous spending that seems to be inviolate and untouchable by this government? I will give a bit of kudos if Andrew's prediction comes out to be correct here, that they're not going to be touched. Well, number one, it's a long time till 2024, and God knows what will happen then. But if they have, stood up to, the sort of the government by Twitter and the journalists and the ABC Fairfax types who have been pushing so hard for these cuts to be ended, I think that is the government. You have to give them credit where it's due, and good on them for resisting the calls, because it would be a very easy, popular thing for them to do, but they would have only been backed in by a bunch of idiots on Twitter and a few people at the ABC.
I don't know how popular it would be. It would be popular on Twitter, and
that's what I'm saying. It's only for that.
The hard left think tanks, which normally
you mean think tanks? Other than the IPA and
set Labor policies. Yeah, it's quite funny calling them think tanks, because there's not much thinking happening there.
The thinking tanks frequently.
But it's just they're safe in this budget, and like you said, we're talking about 2024, so they've got plenty of time between now and then to
That said, though, they also may have gotten some advice which has been kicking around that essentially by the time 2024 comes around, you're going to need that stimulatory hit into the economy. So if you're playing a long game, then actually you're going to want more money coming back into the economy after having tightened the reins. And Philip Lowe, I think, going pretty hard, too hard on interest rates now.
What about some spending cuts, guys?
That would be good.
Nice old Thatcherite idea.
That would be good. That would be good. It is our money after all.
Some of all these expenses that we,
throwing around taxpayer money willy-nilly, putting us into this enormous debt, that's fine. But allowing people to keep more of their own money, well, no, that's reckless.
And can I just make one point on that? Can I just make one point on that? There is nothing more offensive than this thing you hear from, the Grattan Institute and the ABC and all of these outfits, and they all say, these tax cuts will cost $246 billion over 10 years. No. It is not a cost.
It's
it is
not
a cost
the government's money.
A tax is a cost to you, the taxpayer. It is not a cost to the government when they don't get it.
But again, talking about what we were talking about before, had the Liberal Party bothered during the last 9 years of government, there was a brief attempt under Tony Abbott and Joe Hockey, but other than that, $5 co-payments, whatever it was, since then, not a whisper from Morrison as Treasurer or Frydenberg as Treasurer. Let's cut spending, not a whisper. So don't be surprised now when Labor are in power and no one even understands what a spending cut is. Or they think it's some kind of archaic, medieval, weird sort of thing that nobody should do. We're going to have to cut spending because we spend too much and we blew a fortune on COVID, which we did not need to spend. We did not need to spend that money. That money was spent to respond to COVID policies, not only that, to respond to COVID.
Not only that, Rowan. Research from the IPA has shown that 40% of the present inflation that we are currently experiencing, so 40% of almost half of the price rises you're experiencing at the shops, is as a direct result of all of that stimulus money, which was dumped into the economy.
We did predict it.
We predicted it.
It's economics 101.
The day that JobKeeper and JobSeeker was announced, I felt physically ill. And we sat on this show a couple of days later talking about it. Everybody else in the world was saying, oh, this is fantastic, isn't it? Shows what a great country Australia is. No, it shows how poor we're going to be and our kids are going to have this debt to be saddled with. That's what it shows.
And it's not just that increasing costs we've seen, but the increasing costs, that inflation has caused successive interest rate hikes. So people are now so much worse off, and their kids are going to be worse off because they're saddled with this $1 trillion debt. And entirely foreseeable. We talked about on this program.
Pointless. It wasn't needed.
But this is a great problem with the leadership class in Australia, in the United States, frankly, I would say around the Western world. No one can see second-order effects to anything that they plan, and they do. And they say, oh, this is great. Here's all this money to get you through COVID. And then, oh, hey, nobody can meet their mortgage payments all of a sudden because the interest rates have had to go up. Gee, who could have seen that coming, honestly?
Florida and Sweden did the cost-benefit analysis and worked out clearly that you don't lock down because it will destroy your economy and you'll then have to subsidise everybody else to pay. They figured it out. Why, with all the brains in Canberra, I answered my own question, why could we not see what was coming down the road? Anyway,